This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, we are finally talking about it. The F1 Las Vegas race coming to Las Vegas in about a week, as we sort of looking at the calendar. And it's really funny that this has become the thing that happens every single year, which ruins a particular thing that happens that very same week, and that is my birthday. So I guess it's always going to be a week right before Thanksgiving, which is also when my birthday typically is. But I say it ruins. It doesn't ruin. And I don't want to say that F1 is bad for Las Vegas. I was actually just having this conversation with somebody at one of the bars today, and we'll get into it. But I feel like a lot of locals have just learned to live with it. Kind of one of those things. I think if your business is actually still on where the track is, it's an ongoing thing every single year that you're going to get mad about. And hopefully it doesn't put you out of business, because that would actually really, really suck. But it is one of those things where it's it's inevitable. It's here. It's going to happen. So be it. So with that being said, I actually do want to just highlight a couple things that are available during F1 or even before F1 that can be really, really fun, even if you're not going to be going to the actual race itself. A couple things that should be noted about the track, where the best viewing options are. Maybe this is a better podcast to do earlier in the year, but hey, we're getting closer to F1 and we're going to talk about it. So a couple other little fun things I wanted to note in terms of news and notes for Las Vegas. So we will be talking about F1, a couple, interesting things that are about to launch, and a couple different restaurant openings that have come open. So we're going to be jumping into that coming up next. Okay, guys, so thank you so much for coming back to the podcast. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram, conciergeconfidential_LV, or me personally, Brian_26. If you want to watch some movie reviews, I've watched a lot of movies over the weekend. Maybe one day we'll do a movie theater rankings for Las Vegas, because I am very passionate about this. But other than that, big announcements just at the top of the pod. Just want everybody to note that we are launching, and you can actually find it in the description for this page, the Concierge Confidential newsletter. So I'm very excited that this is going to be probably a weekly thing, that I'll actually write down a couple different reviews, maybe some things that are coming to town, and overall just things that are on my mind that I wanted to share with you guys. So this first one's more of an introductory of what the newsletter is going to be. It is free. I would really appreciate if you guys do want these news updates to actually subscribe on the button that you'll get when you actually log into the newsletter. It is free. It's honestly just another way for me to write, because I do actually really love and enjoy writing stuff, and I think I'm actually better at it than actually podcasting. So I really want to share that with you. And in this first episode, I'm actually going to be sharing a couple interesting notes from the openings of two restaurants, Boa Steakhouse at the Venetian, a little quieter, Palazzo actually, and the much anticipated Carbone Riviera that is now open at the Bellagio. So I talk a little bit about pricing and that kind of stuff inside of the newsletter. So make sure you check that out. Also, I will be talking about a thing that I'm actually doing. I'm actually putting together a YouTube video for the F1 Arcade, which is now located at Caesar's Palace, which I thought was a pop-up, but after going inside of the F1 Arcade, I think it's actually going to be something that's going to stay around for a while. And I have to say, as someone who wasn't a big fan of F1 stuff, it's pretty awesome in there. So I'm making a video on that specifically that will be going on YouTube. Hopefully you guys check that out once it's available, probably sometime this week, but really think it's going to be really worth your time just to check it out. And hopefully I do more of those in the time being. Honestly, guys, it's just one of those things where I just have to get comfortable being out and about with a camera. But I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. So hopefully you guys do. So let's jump into F1. So It already started, actually. When I was walking around Caesar's Palace, you can actually see a lot of F1 integrated things. Essentially, if you are somebody who's coming to Vegas for F1 or you're coming up the weeks leading up to it, if a hotel is associated with the event itself, they tend to have a lots of merch. They will sometimes have one or two cars, like the Aria and the Bellagio have a couple cars in there already. I do remember when I actually came last year, maybe 2 years ago, I walked around the Aria, and they had so many installations set up that they had, I think, like 3 or 4 cars in the lobby at the Aria. So probably because it's like really easy to actually get in and out of there. But that was fascinating. But there's lots of like cool free stuff, and you will see they have lots of zones. So if you actually are here the week of, which I can't look at it right now, but they do have zones for every single section of the strip that is along the track area, which the track itself is actually mostly starts from Treasure Island and shoots all the way down the strip going south until you get to about Cosmopolitan and get to the turn where it turns onto Harmon, and then it goes down towards Koval where they have the paddock area where it turns around and then goes around the Sphere. So a couple things to note about F1. It is very much like an entire week of an event. So they usually get here probably about Sunday, I would say, maybe Monday, and everything sort of starts trickling in as sort of we get down towards the weeks. And there's 3 main days. So you have Friday, which is the typical race day for F1 in America. Usually it's on like Sundays, but that's usually when it's in the daytime. This is a specifically interesting race for F1 because it is at nighttime, which I think is very unique, and they're still trying to figure it out. And they found out that it gets very cold in Las Vegas in November, which I think it's funny that they keep it on the calendar at that time of the year. But the main race day is on Saturday. That's really important to note. And then you have 2 dates before that, which is Friday and Thursday, which those are the practice days, which people do buy tickets for those days as well. Although the first time they had it, it was a little bit of a snafu because they had a little bit of an issue with the track. So not a lot of people were able to see it on that Thursday, and it took into Friday. So didn't know that it took so long to do a lot of the stuff, but it is what it is. So those days, you tend to find a lot of interaction in the like interactive zones when you purchase tickets for the F1 event, which there are many zones that you can purchase for. And obviously the marquee areas, the number one areas that people all want to sit in is the paddock area, which is where all like the pit stops are, and also that's where they have lots of like the introductions for the racers and the teams. So that's typically why people like to be in that area, because one, that's where they stop, that's where they get to see all the celebrities, that's where they hang out at. It is what it is. And then people tend to like to be on the straightaways. They're like, really fast parts of the race, or the turns, which the major turn at this particular event is around the Sphere. And that's typically where all of the performances by all the stars and stuff are going to be at. You do have to purchase your food and drink when you go around to the different areas. So just keep that in mind. So it's kind of fun because my brother is actually going to the F1 event on race day, where again you could purchase tickets for the entire weekend, which it can be quite pricey. I've seen up to like $3,000 for a 3-day pass, essentially. But you can also purchase tickets depending on what zone you are, starting at around $700 a ticket, all the way up to about $1,200 for like normal tickets. Obviously, the tickets can go astronomically high, especially if you're like in a club area, like in front of the Bellagio, in front of the Wynn. They all are very adamant of making sure that you're able to see those spaces, and they have lots of giveaways for that as well. So that's what F1 is, like sort of like in a nutshell in terms of the ticketing system. By the way, the tickets are still available. So they still have tickets available for F1 if you're coming to Las Vegas. I don't see a lot of people who aren't locals that are going to be purchasing tickets at this time because the tickets might be whatever they are, $700, but then you have to figure out how to get to Las Vegas. So I know that can sometimes be the issue. And then also staying on the strip can be quite pricey, of course, at that time of the year. it's funny because it's become sort of like one of those dates where it's like that's the one of the most expensive times of the year. So you have New Year's, then you have typically like the Super Bowl is another really busy time, March Madness, and then you also have this night, which is the F1 week. But it tends to be really fun, especially on the Strip, if you are staying on the Strip, just because everybody has this sort of energy about, it's sort of like a big title fight. Back in the day, the boxing, where everybody just is like in town for one reason and one reason only, and that is to see this one event, and everybody's bought in on it. You could purchase shirts everywhere. Some places have like official after parties. Some places are the official hotels of some of the teams, and a lot of the teams will be in certain zones. So like Mercedes and let's just say McLaren are all at the MGM zone, and then you have the Caesars zone, and then you'll have the Wynn zone, and they will have specific cars for that team, and then also certain shops for that team as well. So it's really important to just go on the F1 website, check it out, see what zones are what, and then that's how you're able to actually go through and see which ones you want to see. This is a little bit different than New Year's Eve because they do shut down the track, but you are not allowed to walk on the track. They do shut it down for traffic, and it is a little bit tough to cross the street. That is the number one thing that's going to be hard if you come to Vegas for F1 is crossing the street. But I don't want to get too tied up in the actual event just for that day itself. I do want to talk about what is it like living here in Vegas during F1. Honestly, guys, if you work on the Strip, it is one of those things where it is a constant issue that you're always sort of like scared. When are they going to shut this street down and make me late for work? There's always like alternate routes you have to go to, and I drive, around that area for work sometimes. And even today, when I was actually doing like a drive up the Strip, you can see all the construction that actually has them diverting stuff. So I would say that unless you are coming to Vegas for F1 and you're going to go actually see the race, it isn't always fun, especially if you're coming to Vegas to see like the fountains, for example. You can't see the fountains at all during October or November. So sorry if you're here to see the beautiful fountains. You're going to have to wait until your next trip. So I would say if you're a fountain watcher, they do still run the fountains. People have said that like they shut the fountains down for that entire time, and it's like it's stupid. But there are ways to view it if you actually do want to see the fountains when the F1 clubs are set up. But they do have lots of shops. So kind of just jumping back into that, it is really fun to come here if you really like F1 stuff surrounding it. So I'm actually going to be going to the Venetian soon to see if I can get if I can get a shirt for my niece. Don't tell her. And because she's actually going to be staying here at my apartment with my brother, who are going to the race, which I'm really excited for them to do that because I'm really excited to have them stay in the new place. And I think that'd be a nice little thing for them to check out while they're here. So with that being said, I think I fixed the microphone, by the way. It was buzzing in my ear. So as I was saying, they're going to be staying at my apartment, which is cool. But once you get down here, everything does feel quite high-end, and one of the high-end things that they've added is the F1 Arcade. The F1 Arcade, which is located at Caesars Palace, is really, really fun. I really have to tell you guys, I thought it was going to be very cheesy. When you went in, it's like, oh, this is just like another pop-up that they're figuring out how to, do these things. And it feels like they've really invested in this F1 Arcade. They have really cool simulators, which is really the main draw of why you want to go to the F1 Arcade. But I've also sat there, and all the bartenders actually are bartenders at like the Arts District, which means they know how to make cocktails. And also, I met one, his name is, I believe, Matt, and he is a bartender at the Islas, which is a place that I love to go to. I think he just started there maybe 2 months ago, which is why I haven't seen him too often, but I have seen him once or twice, and I told him that, and he hooked it up. So thank you, Matt. But with that being said, I thought the food was actually really, really good. I had some grilled shrimp. that were, really, really tasty. They give you 6 shrimp in a shrimp skewer. So that was great. And they were about $17, which isn't, I would say that's actually quite reasonable for the size of the shrimp you got and the quality of the shrimp. And they came out and they looked glorious. You guys will see it in the video. It was beautiful. The shrimp skewers, great. I also had a cheeseburger because I hadn't had lunch, and it was also delicious. Really worth the size. It was like $17, and you get fries. I think it was $19. Totally worth it. That's actually kind of what Holstein's charges for their burgers back when they were at the Cosmopolitan, and really great burger. And they have lots of different fries you can get. I got just regular fries. They were delicious. And I had the cocktails. The cocktails are actually really good. And I really enjoyed that every single cocktail had like a little story to go along with it and sort of the inspiration behind it. And I think that's really nice for theme bars. This is sort of a theme bar, to have that. And I think that did a really good job, and it looked beautiful. And again, this is the thing, is that people will pay for $19 cocktails if it makes it look like it's worth $19. I think this was $22. And it looked like it was worth $22. So the thing is, if you put a lot of time and effort into your cocktail, no one's going to complain about the price. And I thought they had a very nice bar. I honestly would see this bar at like a really nice restaurant somewhere. Custom built, looked perfect, lots of spirits on tap. It's a really, really great time to go there if you just want to have drinks. I also really appreciated that they didn't have like a spending minimum or a ticketed time or a time that you can be in there for until you had to move out. It was just first come, first serve. I really enjoyed that. You can just go anywhere inside of the arcade, and you didn't, like, they had a server that would walk around, but really the server was just there, to take your orders, obviously. And there wasn't like sections, which I thought was great. I don't know. It was just something that really spoke to me, that it was just so free flowing and chill for something so nice and upscale. So I thought overall it was fantastic. I did do one of the experiences, which you don't have to pay for to experience the lounge. But if you do want to experience the actual simulators, they are I think I paid $25 to do it. And it was on a weekday, it's like Monday through Thursday. I think it's $25. And I think in the evening and weekends, it ends up going up to like $32 or $35 a person. And they let you choose from 3 races, which is about 30 minutes, to 5 races, which I believe is about 45 minutes to an hour. And I have to say, you do have to drive it a couple times. They give you all the different routes that you're going to race before... It does take a little bit of time to learn it, but once you do, it becomes really fun. So I think this is actually one of the top places if you wanted to go on a very adult date. I think it would be fantastic. I think you can take your kids there. I think it could get a little expensive because, if you have a lot of kids, it could be a very expensive endeavor, but, it's having kids. But I do think it's a kid-friendly thing, so I wouldn't be against... taking kids there. I think it's actually fantastic. I would also recommend, this is great. Again, great for just hangout things in the daytime. You can do it at nighttime as well. It's really all times are good for this thing. I believe after 7 o'clock, it is, I think, 21 and over. But I really enjoyed my time at the F1 arcade, and I would highly recommend this to anybody who's coming to Vegas. Even if it's not during F1, I think this would be great for something to do anytime during the year. So one of the top tier experience attractions that they've added to Las Vegas that I really think is worth your time. Although it was funny because I was talking to the bartender, and he was talking about how he likes making certain drinks, and then he hated making this one drink, which I didn't order. Thank goodness. But it's cool. They are going to have a watch party there, by the way, and I don't know what the price is for it. I'm sorry I didn't check while I was there, but make sure you check out F1 Arcade USA and check the one in Las Vegas, and they have the watch party prices on there. Sorry, you come here for the information. I totally forgot to grab that information for you. But what else happened? So I did end up getting I have my friends who actually went to Pisces over at the Wynn, and it was for their semi honeymoon. And I was like, what'd you guys think? Did you guys like it? Well, how's it going? and they said Pisces smidge overrated. And you never like to feel good about it, but I, being a concierge, as you guys know, I actually tried to sell it, like it was good, just because that was their idea. When it's someone's idea, you kind of just go with it and you say, hey, you're going to have a lovely time. Because if you put a negative notion in somebody's head, they're not going to like it. They're going to find something to be wrong with it. But if they come up with it on their own, that's all up to them. But they did say it was quite expensive. They did say that it's a lot of fluff in terms of what is actually on the plate. And also like that they didn't enjoy the toad or the frog that comes out for the Lake of Dreams. That's debatable. That's up to them. But I do think they are right in their assessment that it is a very, very shiny luxury restaurant, but maybe the food doesn't live up to that. They had really fun cocktails is the number one thing that I remember. But I think they would have liked someplace else. But what's funny is that they did the $20 trick, by the way, and they were able to get a really nice view at Resorts World. So I was talking to them, and I was like, oh, you guys should have went to Delilah's and had a cocktail and this whole thing because it's at the Wynn. And they were like, do you go there often? And as you guys know, I'm there like every other weekend. So I had to do this whole thing where I had to explain to them sort of the situation, and they were trying to figure out how to get into the restaurant for an upcoming like thing. So I thought that was funny, and yeah, that was basically it. Also, overall, just had a really fun weekend. Watched the Packers lose, so they suck. But yeah, just went to the movies a lot, guys. You guys don't come here for this. I'm just telling you what happened. But I am just really excited for you guys to check out the video for the F1 arcade. I think this is one of the better videos that I've done because I haven't done many, but it is for YouTube, so make sure you go check that out. And also make sure you check out our newsletter, which will have more information on the openings of Carbone Riviera, as well as the Boa Steakhouse, which is at the Palazzo. And yeah, a little welcome message to Las Vegas. And I'll also do a little thing on F1 Arcade as well in that newsletter, so you can read a little bit more about it. So make sure you subscribe on that newsletter page. I am going to be doing like more itinerary stuff, but that will be for like VIPs and purchase, just because it does take a little bit of time. I can do more detailed stuff. I'll write it up for you and then send it to you, and all will be good with the world. But make sure you send me your emails when you do that, or sorry, just subscribe, but it will go directly to your email where you sign up. And again, it's completely free, and it's one time a week that you'll get a newsletter for all the latest events, all latest happenings, and all my latest escapades in the city of Las Vegas. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the podcast. Really appreciate it. It was a shorter one to begin off the week, but we'll come back stronger on the next episode. So thank you so much for everybody for listening. Make sure if you come out to town, you come up and see me. There's pictures of my face on my Instagram. And if you do see me, make sure you, what is it that? Oh yeah, keep it confidential.